What up, YouTube? It's the Ways, and I'm Tia, and today we're back with another video. Yes, it is time for my eyeshadow declutter. This is going to be a two-part video. This is going to be part one of my eyeshadow collection and declutter, more of a collection. I'm going to be upfront with you. If you don't like to see collections and you want me to just get rid of a whole bunch of products, let me tell you that's not going to happen. That's not gonna happen. I love my palettes. I spent money on them. I want to use them. What it did was just open up my eyes that I need to be using my palettes more. So I'm so happy that I did this collection slash mini declutter in regards to my makeup and especially my eyeshadow palettes. So if you want to see what my collection looks like and what I ended up keeping, then definitely please keep watching. But first, during the intro, go ahead and subscribe if you're not part of the fam. Go ahead and hit that notification bell so you can be updated every time I load a new video. And let's go, because it's a long one, y'all. It's a long one. Let go. What up, y'all? Let's get into this final leg of my collection slash declutter with finishing off with eyeshadow palettes. I probably already said this in the intro, but I just want to reiterate. If I need to break this down into multiple videos, I definitely will. I got some palettes laid out around me. These are ones just stored a little differently than my other ones, as I store my palettes by season that I would want to wear them in. Not saying I wouldn't wear them in any other season or any other vibe that I'm feeling. That's just how I have my palettes set up. But without further ado, it's gonna take a minute to get through these palettes, so grab a snack. If you're like me, you probably fall asleep through half of it and then come back the next day, or 3 times you might fall asleep and come back. But definitely hope you enjoyed this collection slash declutter video with my eyeshadow palettes. I don't plan on getting rid of a whole bunch of eyeshadow palettes, as I do enjoy having options. But with that being said, let's get started. So this first one that I have is by Viseart, and this is the Natural Matte Eyeshadow Palette. And this is just mattes, and they're neutral. And I really enjoy the Viseart formula. I also have this one, which is this is also natural matte. So I don't really know what the difference is. Hold on. Yeah, they both say natural mattes. They are different though, but they are mattes. This one is more cool tone and this one is more warm tone, as you can totally tell. I love the packaging, how it's plastic. I have not used this one. I have used this one multiple times. But I like having this variety. I love the way that this performed, so I had to pick this one up. I think I got these on BoxyCharm for like nothing, like $18, and I think these are like $70, $80 palettes. Definitely nice to have if you just want a brown. You know, you can get it out of one of these, and some great mattes. Plus this one, they threw in some color for us. So definitely keeping both of these Viseart palettes. All right, this is my Alien Cosmetics palette, All I Ever Wanted, volume 1. Volume 1. And it is an all shimmer, duochrome, multi-chrome type of situation. This was in one of my top videos for this year that I use. Oh, I still can't get over Finks. So I had to swatch it. But just an awesome palette, great quality, and I'm definitely keeping it. This one is volume 2 by Unearthly Cosmetics. Not to mention, you might see some plastic sleeves. I'm sorry. All of my palettes were actually in boxes. Most of them are. I keep their boxes. But I said, let me take this out because I get irritated when I'm sitting here watching a declutter. They have to take them out of the boxes. So this is number 2. I love this palette. It was also in my ranking. Some beautiful shadows in here. Look at that. I don't know if you could tell, but the duochrome in that one, pinky to purple vibes, some just great shadows in here, very fun. Add a little shimmer or a lot of shimmer, a lot of metallic, a lot of character to any look, and I'm keeping this one as well. I think she's either getting rid of these palettes or I don't know. I went back to look at them and I didn't see them, so that sucks, but I love these palettes. I also talked about the Danessa Myricks Lightworks Volume 3 palette. I love the packaging. Also a whole bunch of duochromes, multichromes. I was going back through this palette though, and oh my gosh, I forgot like about this color right here. Ugh. Like, look at like this color is fantastic. You can totally see the vibe and the shift in that shade. It's beautiful and I love this palette. It was a pricey palette, but I think with between these three multi-chrome, duochrome, special shade palettes, I don't need any other ones. So until I get through these. So yes, keeping that. The next palette I have is by Martina Cosmetics, and they are an indie brand out of the UK. I think it's Belgium. But this is the 669 palette. Look at it. It is like a whole briefcase type situation. I've had this palette for a while. This is probably going to be my next Way Back Wednesdays. I've been yearning to play with this palette, but this is the color story. Very grungy. I kind of turned down the lighting a little bit just so you guys can really see the colors in these palettes. So I hope that helps. But like I said, this one's very, very grungy, very, very dark and kind of sexy to me, honestly. But I cannot wait to play in this palette and bring you guys some looks. So definitely keeping that one. Like I said, this might not be... This might be more of a collection type video than an actual declutter, but we'll see. So this one is by Pat McGrath Labs, and this is from the holiday collection of last year. And it is the, what is it? The Nirvana, Celestial Nirvana Eyeshadow Palette. And this one's in Bronze Blitz. Yes, you have one matte and some special shades. This is really the special shade. This one is fantastic. It's like a taupey shimmer. Like, it's so sparkly. I hope you can see it, but yeah, it's awesome. It's my favorite shade in that palette, and I like the black too because it's not super duper black. But yeah, keeping that somewhere else. So then this one is the Breakfast in Bed palette by Beauty Bakery. Very nice, cool tone, color story, a little bit of some jewel tones in here. I think it's a very, very nice palette. I think it could perform better. I love the color story. I guess I just wish the quality was a little bit better. You know, regardless, I'm going to keep this in my collection. Play with it some more, see what other looks I can create with this one. Then I also have, you guys, I just went to TJ Maxx and Marshalls and I seen these two. And I could not help myself. These are by Makeup Revolution London, and this one is the Game of Thrones. Both of them are Game of Thrones, but this one is Winter is Coming. Oh my gosh, Jon Snow! Jon Snow, that's all I have to say. Plus it's blue tones. I haven't used this yet. I have swatched a couple shadows. I do like how some of these shimmers look. Are they going to be the most impactful shades? Probably not, but I love that it's an all blue color story. But just look at those two. Maybe they are going to be okay. Look at that swatch. I had to get it. I'm a sucker. I'm a sucker because I love Game of Thrones. I still need to watch the new season or the new one, the extension. But that's that one. Winter is Coming. Jon Snow, say less. I hope they come out with a show for him. And then this one is Mother of Dragons. I almost was just going to get the blue, but then I was like, oh, but look at this color story. If they could just get their formula on point, like this color story is gorgeous. I love it. Goes very light to very dark. Look at these red tones, very warm. A little deep, some deep shimmers in here. Like, this is beautiful. So we'll see how it performs, as I have not used it yet. I do like this like packaging, and yeah, I'm a sucker. So I got these, and I swear I got them for like $7 each. So, all right, this one is Element of Surprise. This is by ColourPop. My friend gave me this very neutral color story with like, has undertones of like purples and a little bit of a pink situation happening there. The one pop of pink. I do like this color, but I think I have a color like that in my Melt palette that I just got. Actually a couple Melt palettes probably. I don't really know. I think this is my only ColourPop palette. I don't think I get the hype. The only reason why I was going to keep this palette is for this shade right here, which I think is very, very pretty. I don't even know if you could tell how that looks. It's kind of like brown with a little bit of hint of pink. This is going to be maybe. Just because it's my only ColourPop palette, but at that point, I'm just going to see what else I see if they compare. Okay, so this is the Whitney Houston and MAC collab. I just got this palette. Very cool tone, neutrals, some shimmers. Not much impact on the shimmers, but they do what they need to do. I'm definitely keeping this palette. I just got it, and I love me some Whitney. I have this palette by Violet Voss. I have not used this palette. This one is Violet Sunset. It's just neutral with some purples. Let's compare it to this Element of Surprise. I actually really like the Violet Voss formula. I haven't used this. Very similar vibe with, well, kinda. They're close. They're very close. But I've not used neither one of them because they're not really my color stories. I'm not huge on the pinks and the purples. Let me see what this color. Ooh, that's really pretty though. That's pretty. It's like a mixture that kind of gives me the vibe of this one. It just doesn't look as, maybe not. I'm a sucker. Okay, let me put both of these to the side and see what else I have, if anything compares to them. All right, I have this Wet n Wild Color Iconic palette. I would definitely keep this, but it is broken and now everything has shifted over to all different kinds of sides. If I decide I want to get it again, I could, but I have color stories that represent kind of this vibe too in my collection. I know I do. So I'm going to go ahead and declutter this one as it's broke. Look at me. Okay, we'll put that there. I'm not going to be so ruthless. I mean, I like having a nice collection, so that's that. This is a Tom Ford quad that I have. I just recently used this on the channel. This is the 29 Desert Fox. Just a very neutral tone. I know the lighting's going in and out. I'm sorry, I'm just trying to figure out how I want to do this. This is my first declutter. But very neutral color story. You got a light, a mid-tone, and a deeper shade, and then a shimmer. But I'm definitely going to keep this. Just nice and sleek for travel. I absolutely love the packaging on these, so we will definitely hold on to that. And it came in a little pouch thing here. Do I need it? Probably not, but I bought it, so there you have that. I have this palette by Laura Mercier. This is the Hidden Gems eyeshadow palette. This is probably one of my favorite palettes. It's very muted and very simple. But these shades are just so pretty to me, maybe because they are like jewel tone. Like, this is a duochrome. Everybody's seen this duochrome before, but I think it's just gorgeous. I love this color. It looks very, very subtle, which it is, but there's just something about it that's so pretty. It's kind of like a duochrome too. You can kind of see the pink gold shift there. It's an all shimmer palette besides the two mattes, and one being a black and one being like a cream type shade. You can't get this palette. I think you can get it at like Walmart now, but I just really love it. I really, really love this palette, so I'm going to keep it. All right. Next, I bought this palette. This is by Natasha Denona, and this is the Zendo palette. This is a beautiful palette to me. I haven't used it yet. There's a lot of palettes in my collection I haven't used, but I'm planning to, guys. It's coming. But I like how you have some warm tones. You can get a little neutral, cool. You got pops of color. I really can't wait to play with this palette. I haven't even swatched it. I've seen mixed reviews on it. I got it in a bundle when I got the bronze palette. And you know what? I'm so excited to have this palette. Like, I think it's being discontinued. I'm not positive about that. But like, there's some awesome shades in here. And knowing that you can pop out the Natasha Denona shimmer, you know, colors and make your own color stories, I know the formula's got to be good. So definitely keeping that one. All right, I have this palette by She Makeup, Sparkle Dreams. That's what it's called. I went to one of those like cosmetic like sales where they have really inexpensive makeup, and I picked this palette up. Hold on, it's blinding you. And yes, it is all pressed glitters. And I'm okay with that. If I want to press glitter, this is the palette I come to. I don't play with them very often, but when I want to, this is just so fun. And I'd rather have them in one palette than a whole bunch of different palettes. So this is my press glitter palette, and I'm definitely keeping it. Sparkle Dreams, She Makeup. All right, I picked up this palette. This is a YSL palette. What is this called? It's so cute. Look at the packaging. It looks like they're purses. I got glitter all over me now. I guess that's why we don't play with pressed glitters too much. But this is called Tuxedo, and this is from the Culture Color Clutch. It looks like a clutch, like I said. So pretty, the packaging, and this is the color story. You know what this reminds me of? It really reminds me of the Whitney Houston palette. Look at that. Very similar tones. If you could tell, the packaging's kind of blinding you a little bit. Let me turn down the light. Like this shadow and this shadow look similar. It's a gray type of tone. You have a black, you have a black, you have a purple, you have a purple, you have a brown and brownie taupes. A couple more shimmers, light tone. This palette just definitely reminds me of each other. So just wanted to point that out. I also got this at TJ Maxx, and I just love cool tones. So when I seen this, I was like, yes, I have to have it. Who knows how much it is in the store. I think I got it for like 40 bucks. Have not touched this yet, but I will, and I'm keeping it. Let's talk about this. This is the Tiny Marbles palette. This is by Sydney Grace, and it was in a collaboration with Mel Thompson, who was a YouTuber and has tons of videos still on YouTube, but unfortunately has passed away. Rest in peace to Mel. But I had to pick up this palette in remembrance of her, but also I wanted to try the Sydney Grace formula, and I thought that this would be the best way to go. I really like the color story. I think there's a lot of cool tones in here, jewel tones. I love how deep this can go compared to some of the other palettes that I've seen. I have not swatched this palette. I have not used this palette, but I will. I'm very excited to finally have it in my collection. I was eyeing it for a while, and they had a nice little sale. Plus, all the proceeds goes to Mel's family. So, definitely excited to have this in my collection. Then I have the Nude by Yolando palette. Playing in Makeup by Yolando. This is the Church Girl palette. All browns, all neutrals. I love the names. Faith, love, trust, glory, faithful, praise. It's a Church Girl palette. All neutral vibes. I think it's great for a go-to palette when you just want some browns and some neutral shimmers. So definitely going to keep that. Questioning the quality. I have to pull this out again and see how it's held up, but I'm gonna keep that. This is a big one. This next two are big. These are from Playing in Makeup by Yolando 2, and this is the Jam Rock Color Washana. I can't say it. Pastel eyeshadow palette, so it's an all pastel palette. This is a very, very nice palette. Actually, this is the first palette I used in my first YouTube video that I posted a couple years ago. and that was a fun vibe. But I would definitely love to get into this palette again, definitely during the springtime. These are nice for darker skin tones when it comes to pastel. So if you're looking for a good pastel palette for deeper skin, I would definitely recommend this one by Playing in Makeup by Yolando. Definitely keeping it. Have all the pastels I'll probably ever need. All right, and then this one is by Playing in Makeup by Yolando as well, and it is called the Jamrock palette. Yolando is from Jamaica, if you didn't know. So it's an indie brand, and this is an all matte palette. Look at all these colors. It's a rainbow palette with a whole bunch of mattes. You have your black, and you have your white, and you have so many nice tones, grungier tones, brighter tones, pastel-y tones in regards to mattes, all in one palette. Definitely going to keep this. Great quality too, and very pigmented. All right, the last one I have in this stack, and then we'll get some more. But I just got this one for Christmas, and I'm so excited. My cousin got it for me. I have been lusting after this palette, and it is the Natasha Denona Metropolis palette, and she is a gorgeous. I didn't realize how they're the same size as the mini palettes. Like, it's the same size, just more colors, and I absolutely love that. Very neutral, has a little grunge to it, can go all different types of ways. I have not touched this palette, but oh my gosh, you guys, I am dying to touch this palette. Thank you, cuz, for thinking about me, and I am so happy to have this palette finally in my collection. Yes. The ones I haven't touched, I don't want to swatch yet, as I like to swatch them with you guys, so I do apologize about that. All right, let's come back to these two real quick. I need to, you know what? I'm not doing very good. Not that I have to get rid of stuff, but I'm just like, Tia, are you going to ever pick these palettes up? That's what it really comes down to, and honestly, I don't think I am. I don't think I am. So I'm going to go ahead and declutter the ColourPop Element of Surprise palette. I'm going to see what else I have in my collection, because I really do like Violet Voss's formula. So let's just see. We'll hold that one off to the side. Let me clear these away and get another stack, and I'll count how many. I'll start counting how many we are keeping, but we've only decluttered 2 palettes so far. Okay, this next set of palettes would be considered to me fall palettes. So that's how I have them set up. Doesn't necessarily mean, like I said, you can't use them any other time of year, which I probably will, but that's just how I categorize them. All right, so I have another quad. This is by Tom Ford as well, and this is the Leopard Sun quad. Let me pull this out. This one's really pretty. It has like this reddish type tone. You have your gold shimmer, more of a beigey yellow type of shade, and then a brown. They're a little bit more satin than matte, but definitely pretty nonetheless, and definitely keeping this palette. I got all my Tom Ford palettes at the Makeup Cosmetics store for very, very inexpensive pricing. So definitely keep that in mind if you're ever thinking about those palettes, to look to see what deals they have. And they're still palettes that are available for full price, so why not get it at a discount? Let me just say, I hope the lighting is right. I'm trying, but it's difficult to know how it's going to show up on camera, or if I should like make it a little brighter. Yeah, maybe we should make it a little brighter. Let's see. So I'm adjusting as need be. Okay, so the next one I have, this is by Black Radiance, and this is the Brilliant Effects Midnight Magic palette. I got this at Target. It's a very pretty palette. Like, the color story is so nice. It has a little mirror in it. I love the tones. I definitely think this screams fall. The problem here is there's not a lot of mattes. I think there's like one in the black, you know, but look at the pigment. Very, very nice. I do want to try this palette. You have some pretty shimmers in here, you know, the black shimmer, and it has a little bit of a blue undertone to it. Very, very pretty, very inexpensive. I want to say I maybe spent $7 or $8 on this palette, but I love the color story. I just don't know how good the quality is. I was going to use it and I was like, dang, but I have nothing but shimmers. And it was a Way Back Wednesday. So I might do like a palette matchup with this palette. So I'm going to keep it. I'm going to keep it for now. Okay, next I have by Makeup Revolution. This is the Joker palette that they had was it last year or the year before? I think it was the year before. I never got a chance to get around to using it. I like the color story. I think it's very pretty. I think it's resemblance of the Joker. We could have probably had, like we have the red, we could have probably had a deeper green, but I'm not mad at it. I have played with this palette and I'm not mad at the quality either. I love the Joker and I'll probably keep this palette forever. I think Makeup Revolution and MAC, okay, really get me with the collabs if they're done right. And this was the only one I picked up from this collab, but I really like it. So I'm going to keep it. Maybe I'll be able to use it soon. I got this OPV Beauty palette by OPV. It's called the Spotlight palette. It's OPV Beauty London. It is an indie black owned brand out of the UK. Very pretty color story. I'm surprised I have not used this palette yet. Well, I'm not, because I got so many palettes, and I actually got this from BoxyCharm, but it's definitely on my list to use. I might bring it even as a summertime vibe type situation or a palette matchup as well, but I think it's gorgeous. These are all shimmery type metallic-y shades. You have a nice amount of mattes. Very neutral mattes that can probably go with any of these tones. So I'm really interested to try out more from the brand. I have a powder from them and I really like it, and I really like this color story. So we will keep that as well. I thought I took these all out of the boxes. This is the Violet Voss palette, All of You Forever. This one is so pretty. Look at those greens. Look at these greens and these taupey type shades. Ugh, so pretty. I really enjoy this palette. Like I said, I think they have some really pretty color stories. You have a lot of taupey type shades in there that lean a little bit on the barrier side, but also neutral type browns. Definitely keeping this palette. And now that I see this palette, I'm gonna declutter this one. I'm not gonna use it. It's not speaking to me. It's not giving me any life, where this one definitely gives me life. It could be because it's greens and stuff, and I know a lot of people had mixed reviews on this palette in regards to BoxyCharm, but I really love this palette and I'm gonna declutter this palette. I have this palette by Huda Beauty. Oh, this one is so pretty. This is the Rose Gold palette remastered. Look at the packaging now. Like, this is, I love this sleeve. All the other sleeves you see are what? Plastic. She put her whole face on a sleeve with color and everything. So cute. But this is, this is the palette. This is the color story. I have not used this palette either. Got this on a really good deal at Huda. I think I got it for like $25. I've been eyeing it for a minute. So this one looks really, really red, but it's not that red in the pan. So it's more of a pinky red. So yeah, very excited to play with this palette. You have your neutral tones. You have an all mattes, some more neutral shimmers, and then some colorful neutral shimmers. So I'm excited about this. A palette, and it's so pretty. I'm a ham. Why haven't I used half of these palettes? All right, so next I have the Subculture palette by Anastasia Beverly Hills. This is the first palette my husband ever bought me. My first high-end makeup palette as well. I love this color story. I did find a backup. It's so much cleaner. It hasn't been used. I'm going to keep them both because when I actually want to use this palette, which I will, I love the Subculture palette. I know a lot of people weren't feeling the vibe, but this is a grungy story, a grungy color story, which is like my dream. I love it. The shimmers are okay from me experiencing them in the other palette, but that's okay because I can work with them. They're pretty. Let me see if I can swatch them. They're pretty. They're just, you know, like this one hit hard pan, but it's really, really a pretty tone. This one, the coppery shade. I got this back in 2018, so really pretty, but they just kind of were harder to work with. So anyways, that being said, I'm still keeping this one that is sentimental value, and I'm keeping the new one to actually use when I want to pull out Subculture. All right, so then I have this palette. This is by Alien Cosmetics. This is the Not Normal palette. Look at that. Look at it. Such a pretty color story. There are a lot of purples in here for my liking. Well, two, but still mixed in with the greens and the darker tones. I think that this is an awesome color story, and definitely keeping. I love the quality of Unearthly Cosmetics. It is one of my favorite indie brands. There's some palettes I've been eyeing. She's been dropping new palettes. She just comes with it. Look at the packaging. Hopefully you can see it with this ring light, but it's so cute. So keeping that. Then I have the Saharan by Juvia's Place. This one's really pretty. I got this on a sale, so I haven't used this either, but I really want to use this red. I love bright, bright reds that look red and don't really turn orange. I think right there it looks orange in the camera, but some deeper shimmers, which I actually really like. So I'm excited to play with this palette, and I like Juvia's Place. So we're going to keep that. Dang, there's a lot of palettes I ain't used. I feel real like, okay, Tia. This is another one I haven't used. This one actually has packaging on it too, plastic. So sorry. This is the BH Cosmetics Barcelona palette. This was part of their travel series. These are really nice palettes. Maybe I should take this off, but I don't want to. Okay, so you have some browns, you have orange. Look at that shimmery orange. Oh my goodness, this color looks so pretty. I'm going to Hawaii soon. I think I'm going to take this palette with me and I'm going to use it. The blues, so pretty. Definitely keep it in my collection. Okay, I got this palette. This is by Aether Beauty. All these boxes, guys, all these boxes. And I'm keeping them. I'm not getting rid of them. This is by Aether Beauty. I got this in a boxy charm. Ew, I like that. I'm probably going to keep that part of it. The moon. So that's cool. Or maybe I should try the palette. Unicorn. So this is just a very neutral color story. I'm just not intrigued. And I have these colors probably 10 times over, as you've seen. So I think I'm going to declutter this one, and possibly, depending on how the box looks, I don't know, I might keep it. I'm intrigued to know the formula, but I don't like the setup of the palette. Like, I don't like the setup, but we'll see. For now, I'm going to put it in my declutter, because I haven't used it, and I don't think I'll use it. Out of all the palettes I have to pick up, I definitely don't think that this would be one that I would pick up. I think we have a theme for the ones I'm decluttering. All right. I have this palette by Lime Crime. This is the only palette I have from Lime Crime. This is the Venus 2, and I absolutely love this color story. Look at this color story. The orange, that pop of blue, this sagey green, this mustardy yellow. I think this is that duochrome shade that's in every palette. Very close anyways to the one I swatched earlier. You have a black. I just cannot wait to play with this palette. I don't even know if you can get it. That's why I procrastinated it for so long. But I really want to try this out and see how I like the formula. But I love this color story. So we are going to keep it. It's a little bulky, but we are definitely going to keep it. All right. I have this palette by Jaclyn Hill. This is the Dark Magic, and this is with Morphe. This one, look at this color story. This reminds me of that Wet n Wild one. I did it in a takeover that I'm decluttering. This is why I can declutter it, because I feel like this is so close to it. And hopefully the quality is as good, because, you know, Morphe is definitely hit or miss. And I'd probably rather buy Wet n Wild, but this is so pretty. So I definitely want to try this out. I'm going to keep that. All right, so this is the Jamrock No Limitations palette by Playing in Makeup by Yolando. This is probably my favorite one from her. There's some big palettes, but you got a lot of nice colors. The shimmers are really, really nice in this palette too. Like this one's kind of putty-like. Look at that. Just look at that. And these shadows are so pigmented. But look at that. Shimmer. I like this one. Oh, look at that. Look at this bright red Sally. Reddish orange. So good. So good. So good. This is a very nice palette. Plus you can get very neutral in here. So very inexpensive for what you get as well in regards to quality. This is one of my favorite Playing in Makeup by Yolando palettes. Definitely keeping. And finally, in this little stack of palettes, this is the Jamrock Rebirth palette by Playing in Makeup by Yolando. This one is very, very pretty too. Sorry about the backing on this palette, but very, very pretty. You can get some neutrals. You got a lot of color. And there's that shade again. That's in every palette. It's not unique anymore, but definitely keeping the Jamrock Rebirth. So... all right, let me wrap these up and I'll bring on the next stack of palettes. Okay, this next set is going to be more like summertime vibes. Plus, I have another box that I kind of just went through on a ranking video. So I'm going to try to take the boxes off as we go because it's just so difficult. But hopefully you guys won't see it and I can edit it out. So for some summertime vibes, I have the ABH Narvina Collection Volume 4 palette. And she looks like this. This is really, really pretty. Very good quality. I really like this palette. It is kind of big, but what surprised me about this palette is how bright these shadows appear on the eyes, and I really, really like it, and I'm definitely keeping this palette. Next, I have the Nomad palette by Juvia's Place. This one is so nice. Oh, I did a Way Back Wednesday on this one, I believe. Very grungy, very summertime vibes. I absolutely love it. I enjoyed playing with this palette. I like the pops of green as well, and I'm definitely keeping it. Okay, so we have the Riviera palette by Anastasia Beverly Hills. This is the older palette. This one has definitely been discontinued, but I think it is very, very pretty. I enjoyed playing with this palette when I have played with it, and I want to play with it some more. I think this is definitely, I think this is a Hawaii type of palette too, Waye playing. Okay, look. Look. So pretty. Yes. Yes. Like this hot pink too. Oh, yes. Definitely gonna keep this one in my collection as well. And I really like the packaging. I think that's so super duper cute. Okay, so I have the Bronze palette by Natasha Denona. This one was cool. This one had very neutral tones, a little bit more on the warmer side for your browns. This color definitely was a hit for me. So now I know, just looking at that too, I could totally get rid of that ColourPop palette because that's the same color. It's a very, very similar color. So definitely keeping this in my collection. I enjoyed playing with it. Sorry, they're so dirty. These ones get really dirty with fingerprints, like the Natasha Denona mini palettes. Like it's very difficult to keep clean unfortunately. Okay, I have this Sour You Doin' by Beauty Bakery. I also got this in a boxy charm. I have not used this palette, and honestly, I wanted to keep it because it is Beauty Bakery, and I like having their stuff in my collection as I really enjoy the brand. But I don't think that this is anything unique, and not that I don't have any of these colors in my collection. Hi. But I think I want to use it, so I'm going to keep it. I want to keep it. I want to use it. I want to try it out. I want to see if this quality is any different from that Breakfast in Bed palette. Plus, this will be really nice for summertime vibes. So I'll keep it around. If I don't like it or don't end up using it this year, then we'll get it decluttered next year. I'm a ham. I can't with myself. All right, so I have this BH Cosmetics Sweet Shop Orange Sorbet palette. Look at this. I did a video using this palette. Absolutely gorgeous shades and very awesome quality. I don't even know if you're getting the full vibe of the shades. So pretty. One row of mattes, corresponding shimmers. Absolutely fantastic. Keeping this. I wish I would have got more colors when I seen them for such a good price. This is by Ace Beauté. This is the Tropical Vibes palette. I think this is the only palette I have from Ace Beauté, and I love it. Look at this grungy green, beautiful color story. Like, it only has 3 shimmers in it, but these mattes are fantastic, and this color story is just amazing. Look at this chartreuse, like, so good. This yellow, all these khaki. Oh, I just can't. And then the shimmers, like, they're like a little bit more soft putty formula, but just 3, and it's okay because they're gorgeous and they complement any of these shades in the palette. So I'm so happy that I bought this palette. Definitely keeping. And if you love greens, and grungy greens at that, I would definitely recommend this palette. This is one kind of controversial, but I wanted it. It's the only Jeffree Star palette I have in my collection, and it's called Conspiracy. Yeah, I don't even know what to say. I just really wanted this palette. I got it on like Macari's or something like that, cheaper than what it is, but the color story just intrigued me. Plus, I really want to try the Jeffree Star formula, as there's so many good things said about it. Maybe not about him, but this is about the makeup, and so I'm okay with purchasing this one. There's some other ones that have caught my eye, and I said, it's okay. I don't need it. You know, I can find these color stories somewhere else, but I really wanted this. I like the packaging. Yes, it's bulky, but I really liked it. This is the one with Shane Dawson. I have no idea who that guy is. Like, I looked it up, but because I contemplated a lot. And when I say a lot on if I want to buy this palette or not, I went back and forth forever, but that's why I ended up getting a Macari. I want to play with this some more. I'm definitely going to keep it. I feel like the quality is not as up to par as I would have expected. And I don't know if it's just this palette or other ones that have the same formula like this. I wouldn't know because I've never tried them. But it could also be the colors that I have tried. But I think it's very pretty. And, like, I'm going to keep it. Like, look at that pink shade. Like, I'm not even pink, but this is like a pink satin type of shade. Very nice. This yellow again is there. This chartreusey yellow. Yes. You know, Illuminati. This one's so pretty. This green. So there's some different type of shades in here too. Conspiracy calls to me so pretty. So they're not super duper shimmery shimmers. They're more satin. I guess that's what kind of threw me off, but knowing that now, it's cool. I have a black. I have a very light shade. Definitely keeping it. I have this bigger pro palette by Ofra Cosmetics. I guess these are the controversial brands dealing with black people, but that's okay. We gonna keep it moving. This one has broke my, this is actually like the bronzer. It has the highlighter. I tried to repress it. Obviously it's coming up. You have really neutral shades. Let me see, because I have another Ofra palette. So this one's really, really big. Sorry if it's blinding you with this plastic. Let me see. I really liked the quality though when I tried this palette. The highlighters are definitely the standout shades. If I could just put those in their own palette, I would. And get rid of the rest of the palette. This one too. It's more of a pinky highlight. So I do have this one too. And this is the Good To Go Mini Mix palette. I actually like this one better because you have some other colors in it. Oh yeah. See, I have a red, I have a green, I have all 4 highlighters, I have brownie tones. Look at this, look at this. That's so pretty. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go ahead and declutter the Pro palette because it's broke, and unless I can just take that out. But then I'm like, do I even really need it if I have this and I barely use it? So I'm gonna keep this one, and I'm gonna keep the smaller one, and I'm gonna declutter the bigger one. I just have my stack of declutters right here. Keeping this one. All right, I have this Juvia's Place, the Nubian 2 palette. Yes. This just screams summer to me. I love this palette. I like how big the pan sizes are in this one. I think the quality is fantastic. I love the shimmers in this palette, and I'm definitely keeping. I think that was my first Juvia's Place palette I ever bought. All right, we're traveling again with BH Cosmetics. This is the Switzerland palette. So this one's really pretty too. I just like the Travel Series palette in the Sweet Shop. So any ones that I was able to pick up, I haven't used this one, but I think it's really pretty. I can't wait to use it. Really pretty green, olivey tones in here. You have an orange, brown, and I even think that these would be great like mashup palettes with other BH Cosmetic Travel Series. So we're gonna keep that. I apologize about the plastic pieces. I guess I was worried about the boxes, and the plastic pieces are what's killing it. Okay, so I got this palette. This is by Hip Dot. This SpongeBob palette. I had to get it. It's just a mini palette. It does have pressed glitters in it. I have not used it. I got it because we call my husband SpongeBob, and I'm gonna keep it. I got it hecka cheap. I'm gonna try it out too. I think this will be a pretty summer palette. So yeah. SpongeBob, come through. No. All right. So I have this Spicy Betch, I guess, palette by Tarte. This is horrible quality, y'all. I just can't get with it. I love the color story. I love the warm tones. I love the red, the yellow, the golds. The quality is not it, and I don't even think the color's coming through. I'm gonna declutter this as much as it pains me because I really wanted to love this palette. It's not it. Gotta let it go. I bought this little palette from the Lip Bar. It was just a little quad. I wanted to try out the quality of this palette. I swatched it. I'm not feeling it, and I'm not going to use it, so I'm gonna go ahead and declutter it. Plus I have, let's see. Oh, it does have a little mirror on this side. It's cute. It is plasticky. It's kind of cheapy like. But I have all these colors. I have all of these colors, so that's okay. We'll declutter that one. Ooh, I wish I would have got more of these, or would get some more of these. These are by Kaleidos. The one I really, really like, I think they discontinued. It was like red and black, but this is the Futurism 5 Electro Turquoise. First of all, can we get into the packaging? And the other thing is, when you open it, it's what the color story is, the packaging. Like, look at these turquoise and this pop of orange. You have a brown to keep it a little neutral if you want, and then these awesome shimmer. I cannot wait. I don't know if this is a summer palette or if this is winter palette, but it might be in a winter way back Wednesday. So definitely check that out when I do play with this palette. I can't wait. You have a little mirror on this side and it's just magnetic closure. It's so nice, so cute. And definitely, I got this on a still, like on a Black Friday a couple years ago. So I can't wait to play with that. And yeah, so that is the summertime vibe palettes. Oh, okay, well, that's those. Let me go through these two while we're here. So this is by Odin's Eye, and these were ones I just went over and well, no, I think this is summertime vibe still, but this is by Odin's Eye. This is the Hella palette by Odin's Eye and Angelica. I'm not going to try to pronounce her last name. She's a YouTuber, and I absolutely love this palette. It gets a little grungy, it gets a little light, it gets really deep. It has some very unique shimmers in this palette. So, like, so good. I really enjoy this palette. So good. I do want to try some more palettes from Odin's Eye. This is the only one that I do have. I wish I would have got the holiday collection. They were so pretty. I missed it. But I'm glad I have this one in my collection. I don't think you can get it anymore, which is a shame because look at the artwork. Oh my gosh. Okay. This is the Jackie Aina palette in Anastasia Beverly Hills. Look how gorgeous. I think this might be one of my favorite Anastasia palettes. And it's not just because it's Jackie. Like, it performs. Like, that red, so good. And I was just thinking, there's a palette I want by Pat McGrath, and it's because of the red shimmer. Like, do I even need it? This palette is so good. It's curated so well. She did a fantastic job. Great color story. Nice shimmers. I mean, you do have this shade that's, I think we've seen 4 times. But other than that, I really enjoyed this palette, and it's definitely staying. And I really love the looks I created with that palette. If you haven't seen my way back Wednesday using that palette, I would definitely check it out. The next one I have is by Sigma, and this is the Enchanted palette. Why did Sigma just drop a new palette? I can't. I really can't with all these launches dropping. It's just too much. But this one's so pretty. I think we have another one of those shades. No, this one's more shimmery though. So it's different. It's the same kind of vibe, but it's just more shimmery. Beautiful palette. Light to dark. Great mattes, deep mattes, bright shimmers. The contrast here is just fantastic. I'm thoroughly impressed by this palette. I definitely recommend this palette if you've never tried it and you've been eyeing it. So good. Keeping. Oh, this is another brand that just did a launch that I have to get and spend my money on. Adept Cosmetics, but this is the Adept Cosmetics and Heather Austin palette. This one is one for the books. This is beautiful. These shimmers, they are putty-like, but these shimmers, can we talk about these colors? Like, these shimmers are fantastic. Fantastic. I love this palette. I think Heather Austin, look at that shade. Look at that shade. I think this is the palette I did a 2-toned look or 3-tone shimmer look. And I thought it was the other palette by Danessa Myricks, which I could have created too. But I think it was this palette I was thinking of. So if you haven't seen this palette in action, I think I did a 1 palette 3 looks with this palette. So good. Or it might have been a way back Wednesday, but I'm not positive. This is so good. And she's about to drop. And not even, it's the mattes too. The mattes are good. I really like these 3. Obviously, this one's very close to my skin tone, but so good. This is the only dud color for me, which is Scrubs. For one, it's like a purple, but it's a very, it creases on me a lot, but look at it. You can't deny it. So good. But she's dropping a new palette, and I'm keeping this. She's dropping a new palette in like inspired by Arrow, and I have to get it. And it's a green dream. I have to get it. Okay, the next one. So I'll have it soon, and I'll have a video if you're interested. So this is by Natasha Denona, and this is the Retro Glam palette. Yes, this is beautiful. I really, really like this palette. I think that there are some mixed reviews, but I love the subtleness. Like I said in my review of this palette, I love that it shows up on my skin tone, and it's just so unique. As you can see, that we haven't come across really any of these type of shades in one palette. You might find them in different ones. This Flutter is gorgeous. Shimmer, really sparkly. I love this color Oz. Like, there's just I love Oscar. Like, I've already been through this palette, but I really liked it. I was like, do I need it? And I'm so glad I got it. So glad I got it. Not because it's Natasha Denona per se, because I have other brands, obviously, that I really like their quality and stuff, but this color story, I love it, and I'm keeping it. Okay, next. Oh, yes, I have the Lost in Los Angeles palette from their travel series. This one I have tried, and it's fantastic. Like, I wasn't expecting to love it as much as I do. For one, I love the names. I can't even get past that. But, oh my God. Like, I can't. Look at these shimmers. And then the mattes. They're so good. This is a great palette. If you want some pastels, and if you want pastels, get this palette. Or you could also get the Playing in Makeup by Yolando palette. But this one's cheaper, and it's so good. I was not expecting it to be as good as the hype was, but it is so good. I love the looks I created in this palette too. Look at those. Look at that duochrome. So good. Go get you one. I'm not trying to make you buy nothing, but I gotta tell you guys, when they pop, they pop. Like, okay, so this is the Mercury Retrograde palette by Huda Beauty. So pretty. Not going anywhere. I love that it has some cool tones. I've talked about this palette in my ranking. Really pretty colors. Pinky, purpley vibes for sure. But you can go very neutral as well. But they're subtle. They're not like bam, bam in your face color. So I really like this one. And the packaging. Come on. All right, let me clean these up. And we'll try to go on to the next. Well, we'll transition to the next pile. Wow. These eyeshadows are insane. I think I have a serious problem. Like, I already knew I did, but seeing how many palettes I haven't used, even on this eye look, actually, I used one I hadn't used yet. It's the Paris Travelers Edition for BH Cosmetics. Ugh, I think I love this palette. So good. You guys seen it in the video, but I actually opened up and used it for this look. So good, so good, so good. But yes, I hope you liked it. What palette did you see that you wanted me to do some looks on or with? Was there a palette you seen that you want me to do some looks with? Let me know down below. I really want to hear what you guys think of this collection and declutter. You're going to have to watch part 2 to see how many palettes I have to keep and how many I actually decluttered. Yes, a little cliffhanger. Okay, cool. So thanks so much for spending your time with me. Don't forget to subscribe. Hit that notification bell if you haven't. And give me a huge thumbs up if you're feeling the vibe on this channel. Also, remember, there's only one right way to do your makeup, and that's your way. We'll see you in the next one. Have a blessed day. Peace.